So, hello colleagues. May I ask for attention? Well, welcome. Welcome back after the long summer break. And let me just tell you, I'm really looking forward to start to work with you as of now. Well, on 24th of June this year, I was really truly honored to be elected by the committee's bureau as Secretary General, taking over the baton from Gerhard Stahl and the interim Secretary General, Daniel Janssen. Both led the administration with integrity, passion and dedication and professionalism. And I have no doubt that we will continue when facing the new opportunities to work together in this decisive moment of a wake of a new legislature together. Let me, by way of introduction, tell you a bit about my background. I've been working over the last 2 decades in various institutions, in the European Commission, the UN context, and eventually also in the Council of the EU. And this entailed intensive negotiations with Parliament, European institutions, and of course also with the regional level, and notably also the Committee of the Regions. So based on this experience, I am positive that we can jointly render a significant added value to the European process. But this is in a certain way just a formal story. Let me allow to be a bit more personal in our setting. Because on more personal grounds, my way to the Committee of the Regions was at the same time influenced by the fact that I, as a born Czech, could witness the effectiveness of regional policy as a cross-border tool. As a cross-border tool already under the prevailing Iron Curtain. Because I was, as a former Czech, as a born Czech, witnessing this in this Czech, Bavarian, Austrian regional triangle. And even more, even when the Iron Curtain went down in 1989, I was again experiencing this cross-border, powerful regional instrument, and then on more personal grounds, I came very soon to Brussels and started to work with a focus on pre-accession strategy, which was really a privilege for me. So, colleagues, looking into the future, where do we stand now? Well, after the recent EP elections, we are restarting, as you know, in a new political setting, a new setting of the European Union. And I think it's obvious for all of us that the recent EP elections have changed the overall landscape. The citizens of Europe expect a new approach, expect an approach which is more participative, which is more focused on their real interests, and this is a new mandate to every European institution and body, and notably also to us in the Committee of the Regions, to the cities and to the regions. At such a historic moment, and you have all commemorated still before summer holidays, the 20th anniversary of the Committee of the Regions, I think it is legitimate to have a look back on the origins of the Committee of the Regions. The former president of the European Commission, Jacques Delors, mentions in his historic retrospective the achievement of the creation of the Committee of the Regions, the same line as the introduction of the direct elections to the European Parliament. I think this has a clear dedicated logic. Because with a political widening and deepening EU, we have to bring the citizens also on board of this process. And this was exactly also the logic of Delors and his commission. Because his logic, his strategy was to introduce the creation of the new Committee of the Regions in parallel with the deepening of the EU, also in the context of the single market. So I think that in order to fulfill this, we have to put up an even more effective dialogue with the citizens. And in terms of innovation, terminology, we would speak and could speak of an effective customer interface. An effective customer interface, because this is a tool where all innovation experts agree is central for an innovative enterprise. The interactive dialogue with the citizen, I repeat it. Now, of course, let's not be misunderstood. We are here in a setting which is far more than an enterprise in a technical political context. Let me quote in this respect the words of my compatriot and former president of the Czechoslovak and later on the Czech Republic, Václav Havel, who said in one of his first speeches in Strasbourg to the European Parliament that the EU is appearing to him as a technically and mechanically perfectly working clockwork. A clockwork which is perfect, but which urgently needs a reinforcement in its moral and participative values. And this is exactly our challenge. We need to bring Europe back to the citizens and the voice of the citizens back to Europe. So in a certain way, we could say that the Committee of the Regions, the cities and the regions are the highway to the hands, hearts and brains of the European citizens. So what does it mean in concrete terms for us? I think that there are three obvious areas. First of all, I mentioned it in the beginning, we are starting in a new interinstitutional framework. We have now on the table the agreement with the European Parliament, and I have to congratulate everybody amongst ourselves, and notably also the previous president and the current management, about the perfect work which has been done so far. Of course, this is just the beginning. We have to start now negotiating in putting this piece in practice, and secondly, to use, once this is done, also as a reference model towards other institutions and bodies. If I say other institutions and bodies, I mean notably also the European Commission and of course the Council and maybe some others. For me, there was a very promising sign before joining the Committee of the Regions. Of course, I used the weeks and the 2 months before for intensive informal dialogue with the colleagues from those institutions. And I can just confirm to you that in these dialogues I perceived a very broad and intensive readiness to step up our cooperation. And I think we have to exploit this readiness. Second, I think we have another obvious key challenge on the table, and everybody who has read the priorities of our future Commission President knows it. this is the challenge of restarting the job and growth engine, I would call it, of the European Union. And having said this, is the cities and the regions are an essential part of it, because if the growth does not happen there, it happens nowhere. Apart from this, I speak as someone who has been over the last years in charge of research, industrial policy, innovation, and in the very last years in charge of energy, transport, and telecommunications. Those sectors, and the Committee of the Regions has repeatedly underlined it in its opinion, call from their substance for an urgent decentralization and regionalization of its policy. So we have a very natural role in this area to become, in a new, wider sense, an effective partner of this process, an effective partner of the Commission and of the Parliament, of the other institutions, and to bring them in a very operational way, in a synergetic process. The big challenge will be, and once more I refer here to the priorities of the President of the Commission, will be to set up European infrastructures. This is the priority number one of the Commission and of the Parliament, by the way. To set up European infrastructures in the mentioned areas of transport, telecommunications, and energy, to drive forward the digitization, and to drive forward a policy which is climate friendly and energy efficient, and last not least, to also promote the job and growth, notably in the area of the young people. So, once more, I think we have a very natural role to play there, because the cities and regions are the national partner. I come now to the third point, and in a certain way, this is, in a logic of sequence, for me, the most important point. We need to kick off, in a first step, internally, a new process, optimizing our internal interaction, optimizing, of course, also the interaction with the Committee of the Regions as a platform for our members. And once more, here, important preparatory work has been already pre-designed, and I'm issuing, as of today, a boarding call for an inclusive process, interlinking you all, interlinking stakeholders, members, and political groups, administration, and everybody working here in a new team spirit. I think this is key, because if we cannot manage to get across a new atmosphere in our house, we will not be able to do it outside of our house. We have to be aware of it. I have perceived before coming here, also here, a readiness to change the thinking. And once more, I really mean it. I think this is essential for our success. In this respect, I was also very happy to speak in the first hours of my being here with Didier Suc and his team, because also this is a part of our internal communication, and I invite also here our colleagues for a constructive internal dialogue. Well, let me just say that we have, of course, in areas of communication, also a huge chance to step it up in the cooperation with the European Commission and other bodies and the European Parliament. We have a dedicated strategy which is coming up, and I think this is part of our communication strategy. Already when I started the phasing in some weeks ago, I could witness the high level of professionalism, expertise, and commitment in our body. And I think I should thank everybody of you, because everybody has contributed to this in one way or the other. So, summing it up into a nutshell, I think that based on this positive experience, our mission is a mission possible. We have the capacity to make this change happen. And we will succeed when and if every single one of our team is embarking also in-house on a new spirit of partnership. Let me assure you that I am committed to contribute to it to do everything which is within my power to this aim. So having said this, I wish you a good start and count on your contribution. And I would like to extend the toast. I hope I have my glass somewhere, yeah? And everybody has it. And I say now in Gesundheit, Santé, Prost, and as a Czech also na zdraví. So all the best and looking forward to work with you.